And welcome everyone. We're going to do the shore fishing edition today. And we've got my good friend Ray Ruiz and his friend Jared. So we're going to turn it over to Ray and tell us about shore fishing, guys.
Some of the things that we know about fishing. So, well, let's get into it here. So,
Okay.
I want to talk a little bit about the Fin program, and for those folks in the audience that don't know what Fin is Fishing in the Neighborhood. It's an acronym for that, and it's a program that was established quite a while ago. And one of the guys, there's so many great folks that run that program. A big shout out to Mario T. And the rest of the guys from the program and gals from the program, they do just an amazing job with this program. And fishing in the neighborhood is basically small lakes that are stocked with uh, sunfish and catfish in the metro area. And they're smaller lakes. They're under, I don't know, under 5 acres or something like that, from what I think from Memorial. It's my understanding. And you can usually fish them year round, except for a few because you don't want to, sometimes they have aerators and in the wintertime, the ice gets really thin. So I don't recommend that just for your safety. But for the most part, it is tremendous fishing and it's a great opportunity. It has great accessibility. So I know, Jared, you are a big fan of this program, and tell us why.
Oh, oh, yeah. Well, first of all, most of the information that we have gathered for fishing, it's been coming from the DNR. So thank you very much, DNR. And yeah, this is our Bible for shore fishing.
Nice.
We started fishing all these lakes, all these ponds, and we I can tell that now we've fishing uh, currently the 80% of the lakes and ponds that are in this little booklet. So,
Wow.
and also
Cool,
the
man.
tip has put always put in the species and how do we cut it, and so it's really fun and really great for fishing with kids. But yes, so
Yeah.
we get into it and we started fishing this and we started loving it because not I would say not all the lakes have fishing piers, but here they all of the lakes that are in this booklet they have fishing piers, so
Right.
they have shore fishing, you know,
Yeah.
opportunities for you. So it's a
That's
great
awesome. And you know,
tool.
you make a good point, Jared. There's the accessibility of these lakes, of these ponds, lakes. They're easy to get to, lots of parking, lots great accessibility, and then amenities, right? So in the booklet, I don't want to make this slide too long, but in the booklet, you can find it online. We'll share it at the end. We'll make sure we'll plug it, our program. But in the booklet, right, Jared, it says where it's located, right? It tells you the amenities, like if it has a bathroom, playground, grills, parking, the kind of fish that are in the a lot of information is in that booklet. So it's a great resource.
Yes, it is indeed.
Yeah, awesome, awesome. That's awesome. So, all right. So we know you use this great resource as an angler for you and your family, for the kids and your wife and stuff. Tell us how you prep as an angler from shore. How do you prepare yourself? What are some of the steps? Because that's what people that tune into the program, our program, that's what they want. Like they like this information, but they want to get inside your
Yeah.
cabeza, inside your brain, inside your head. Like, okay, how does this guy do it? What's his preparation? So walk us
Yeah.
through that. Tell us a little bit about that.
So first of all, we've always trying to decide which lake are we going, right? And we have to do some research. So I'm always scouting via Google Maps with the satellite view, scouting the lake for sure, to look for accessibility to the lake from shore. You know, a beach, a bank, a fishing pier, or even a boat launching, something like that. It will give us access to the fish. And after that. we're always using the lake finder also from DNR to look for depth and for species. So we would know what are we gonna target and how are we gonna target those species. But yes, accessibility, depth, because it's always important for you to know the depth that you're gonna fish from shore. That it's not gonna be like more than 10 feet, of course not, but so you can prepare for that. So
Awesome.
that's what we mainly do: scouting in Google Maps, going to the DNR Lake Finder,
Mm.
and prepare. Just prepare.
That's great tips, man. I think when I was shore fishing, Jared, I didn't have those resources. There was no like thing on your phone where you can just like, oh, let me Google this or no, we like literally how we figured things out was with a rod and reel, and you would
Oh
cast
yeah,
with a heavy bait like a jig mostly, so you can tell if it's grass, if it was rock, how deep it was. That's how we figured out the depth. Now, all you need is your phone, which is freaking cool, man. Like I think it's awesome. The fact that all you have to do is go to Lake Finder. We're going to talk about that later in the presentation. About Lake Finder. We'll revisit this in a second, Jared. But I want to talk about. I want to change the direction here, or once. So you do the scouting, you do a lot of research. You go use the DNR resource, fishing in the neighborhood. Okay, awesome. We're at the lake, right? What are we looking for on the lake in order to give us success, right? Because it's a huge lake. It's an enormous lake. So, like, it's intimidating, right? Like you go to a lake, like, oh my God, where do I start? Good Lord. I've asked myself that all the time. So I'm gonna just take a moment to talk to folks through this. So, what I look for, you got to look at habitat, cover, and structure. A lot of times you're not going to know what the structure is because you can't like dive into the water and look. You can feel it with your bait, but that's a conversation for a different podcast here. But we can at least look for cover or look for submerged vegetation, right? We can look for edges or of vegetation or submerged vegetation, edges of that really, really thick grass or weeds, what people call weeds. It's basic grass, known as grass or heavy cover. That's where fish are going to live. That's their habitat. That's their house. There's an old saying in as a pro bass angler, you find grass, you'll find bass. And that goes for probably the majority of fish. They use grass to feed, to live. Lily pads. I mean, you see lily pads on lakes all the times. You can see rocks. Rocks on the river, especially. Um, I look for shallow water. I look for shallow water with a lot of little rocks in it. On the rivers, I look for wing dams. It's really hard to do unless then you can see the wing dam. You can see like a pile of rocks. Um, I look for transition areas. Transition areas is like it basically means, oh, like you're on a beach, right? You're fishing on the beach, and all of a sudden it goes from beach to muck or organic matter or grass. That difference from A to B, that's a transition area. Fish that. And then main lake points, something that's sticking out, into like an island or something or a point. That's where you look for, which will lead us to our other slide here. Where do I start fishing from? Like if I'm fishing from shore, we're part of the lake. Where do I start? Well, the obvious, like you were talking about earlier, a dock, a pier.
Yeah, it's a
That's,
fear.
I mean, that's mostly where we like to start because that's where most anglers would go. Um, Beach areas. You fish the beach areas.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there's walleyes in any beach area. They like sand. Walleyes love sand. Submerge or emerge in vegetation. Uh, you're going to be fishing, and I think we talked about this yesterday when we spoke prior to this prepping our podcast here. But you said you fish. You notice when you're shore fishing, Jared. And I want you to talk a little bit about this. It's shallow, right? Most of the time.
Yes. 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 It's Definitely
Oh,
always shallow, no more than 10 feet. Mostly is 5 feet, and that's it. But
right.
yes, we fish shallow.
Yeah,
And I would like to give you an advice, everybody,
please.
because you you mentioned that it's difficult to see through water. Just get some glasses, polarized glasses. That definitely change our view in the lake.
Game
The,
changer.
the,
Game changer. Absolutely,
yeah,
man.
it is a game changer because you definitely can see all that submerged vegetation, and you can see the big and the small fishes in there, and
Yeah,
so shallow that you can start targeting right away.
absolutely. Good. That's a great
So
point. That's a great point. Early in the morning, late evening, I know you guys fish, you and your family. See you, man. You and your family fish every like all times, like morning, afternoon, late
yeah,
at night. I mean, you guys fish all the time, so that's great. And the other thing we look for, like you were just talking about, you're looking for bait fish, looking for activity, right, in the lake. And
yeah,
those polarized sunglasses, my God, man, they definitely. I could do a show just on sunglasses. I have different shades of sunglasses. I'll have amber, I'll have dark, I'll have blue. I'll have different for different situations. When I'm out fishing and tournaments, I'm like I look at the conditions and I'm like, oh, let me grab the other sunglasses and I'll put them on. So I have different sunglasses for different situations. But that's a great advice for folks out there is get some
and
polarized sunglasses.
for for us as beginners, there are affordable choices. I mean, you can look into Amazon and no more than $20, and you'll have a great pair of glasses to see your fish. You know,
Yeah,
as you mentioned,
awesome.
even my kids, they have learned that whenever they see a small minnows in the water, they just cast right away because
Yeah,
there's gonna be a bigger fish in there
yeah.
chasing for those little ones.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, man. No, no doubt. I got a quick story about that. So I was fishing with my parents and I my mom hooked into this nice big bluegill, you know, and she had it hooked and she was playing around with it in the water. And she's like, "Oh, I just want to play with the fish. I want to see how it swims." And I'm like, I'm yelling at my mother. I'm like, "Ma, don't play with that fish, you know." And she's like, I just want to play with it, you know? And I'm like, God, okay, whatever. And all of a sudden, the rod gets stuck and it's bent. The rod is bent. And she's like, it's stuck. And now,
Yeah.
now I'm like really annoyed. I'm like, Ma, ah. And I go and I grab the rod from her and it's like, it's pumping. I'm like, oh my God. And I had to get the net. It was a 5 pound largemouth bass
Of
that
course.
had ate the bluegill that she caught.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean,
I
that happens all
believe
the
that.
time. That happens all the time. That happens all the time to
Yeah.
folks, you know. So it's just a lot of fun, man. Let's go to the next slide here. All right, so let's talk a little bit about let's talk about Lake Finder, Jared. And you touched on it earlier.
Yeah.
We're going to use technology to our advantage, right? We want to do that. So let me just go through this, and I'm going to let you kind of talk a little bit about how you and your family use the Lake Finder. So the DNR Lake Finder app is downloads for free. It's completely free. All you gotta do is go to your phone, boom, done. Cool thing, once you download it, it gives you depth contours. Well, what is a depth contour? It gives you precise depth of that lake. So if you literally can stand on the edge of the lake, look at your phone, there's a pin, it tells you where you're at, and it says it's about 5 feet from where you at, or and it goes into 6, 10 to 12 foot, and you're like, wow, all from the palm of your palm of your hand. It also talks about fish species. It tells you about boat landings and accessibility. Definitely illustrates fishing piers where the fishing pier is on the map. And on this next slide, you can see this is Demagasca, and at the northeast part of the lake, that's where the launch is. On the southeast part of the lake, that red dot, that is one of the piers. Okay, and there is a portage area just south of there too. So again, it gives you a lot of information, and of all those swiggly lines in that lake, that's what that is. Those are all depth contours, and you can use that. I suggest using them. It's a great resource, a great tool to use when you're fishing. So Jared, tell us when you're out, how do you use this, and how has it given you success?
Well, yes, we, as I said before, we decide on the lake and we do our research. After we scout via satellite, we start watching for looking for depth. So I've um I've been having more success when depths are slightly changing in a small area, from the bank.
Mm,
If it goes quickly from 5 to 10, you're, I mean, for us, it's like, okay, there's gonna be bigger fishes over there because
right.
we see right quickly, right out of the bank. So,
Mm-hmm.
and most of the times there's vegetation growing up over there, and that change of depth is giving us opportunities to land a bigger fish.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I couldn't agree with you more, man. I want you to talk about equipment. So let's talk a little bit about equipment. So what kind of equipment are you using? Um, so I know you have some equipment there. I want you kind of to show the folks here kind of what you're
Okay,
using. Yeah.
yeah. So, as I said before, I'm always fishing with children. So, with children, you always have to have a variety of bait and lures. So we're always having live bait and we have lures because children get bored easily, and if they
Yeah.
are not catching fish, they make you they could give you a hard time while fishing. So that's why I'm always packed. Worms are not gonna uh, are always gonna catch some fish, as big or small, but worms, night crawlers, they're always gonna catch fish. So we're always taking live bait like worms. But we also have. I'm gonna present you with I would say my lipless crankbait. This
Mm,
guy here is
nice.
my lucky lipless crankbait. This
Yeah.
is the second time I bought it. I bought it, and I'm gonna tell you why. We were fishing a Great Bay Dam at Minnetonka. There's a small park there. There's the dam where Minnehaha Creek starts,
Yeah.
going
Yeah.
down
Yeah.
there.
Yep. Yep.
So that's a great place to go fishing from shore. There's a lot of accessibility and there's a lot of big fish. So with this little guy, I caught back to largemouth bass 3 pounders. It was
Mm,
awesome. And then I
nice.
hooked into a muskie, and the muskie
What?
took it. The muskie took it. So because I was prepared. So we're always going
Mm,
light. This is this is one of my setups. I'm
yep.
using 10 pound test fluorocarbon with a
Mm,
braided leader,
nice.
a 30-pound braided leader. But this is mostly for fishing in the
In the
river.
river. Yeah.
Going uh, going bottom fishing with a big hook, 3/0 hook,
Yep.
1 ounce sinker.
Yep. And you got looks like you got the teardrop sinker that's flat, so that current goes right over it and doesn't get snagged,
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
excellent, which is absolutely
That's
excellent.
for
So,
fishing from shore in the river. That's what we use. But yeah, we don't use more than 10 pounds or 30 pounds on leaders. Uh, we're not trying to catch a giant muskie, not yet.
mm,
Because we don't have equipment. We're always with a rod that would help you maybe target a big bass or manage a northern. It's that's what we definitely use. So this presentation for bottom fishing, and for children, we always do the sleep bobber. You know why a sleep bobber? So you can fish different depths. So the bobber will move. You have a stopper, right? Your
Hmm.
stopper will give you the depth that you want to target.
And you
If
could
you like to
adjust,
go,
right, Jared? You could
yeah,
adjust that. You could adjust
yeah,
that depth. Yeah.
you can adjust that depth to fish from 3 feet to 5 to 10. So it's it's really important. And for kids, this is great. They've been catching bass with the sleepovers. They've been
Sure.
catching the small northern with sleepovers using
Yeah.
using the right bait. And that's the other thing that you always have to prepare for those situations. So sleepover is the most we've been having success, and the bottom fishing. But of course,
Okay.
we use lures. So the one that I gave you, lipless crankbait. We also do the jig, the
Nice.
jig.
Nice trailer with that. Yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That looks
And
like a Berkeley. That looks like a Berkeley chunk.
I can't remember the brand of it, but that's
Yeah.
where what I was using right now, because the vegetation is strong because it's summer. There's a lot of vegetation out there, and this guy is it's for
Nice.
that kind of cover. You don't
So,
get hurt.
so when you're fishing from shore, when you see as a short angler, Jared, when you see a heavy cover, you see a lot of like weeds. You're using a heavier bait to punch through that grass, punch through that to penetrate, right? Is that what you're saying with that
Right,
jig?
right. Yeah, with this jig. And so
Nice.
you're not gonna get hugged while you're reeling in,
Right. That's awesome.
It's gonna
That's
give
really great.
protection to your hoof. This
The
guy
weed
has
guard,
this, yeah, the leaf guard.
weed guard, yep, weed guard. Yeah, that's a really, really good excuse me, really good uh presentation. Now when you're fishing from shore, going back to that lipless crankbait, that looks like a half ounce lipless crankbait. Are you walking and like are you throwing it, walking, throwing, walking and throwing it, retrieving it? Are you covering a lot of ground when you're doing that?
Oh yeah, that I learned from you that I should go in casting, clockwise casting.
Yeah, you're very good, man. Yeah,
Yeah,
very,
covering
yeah.
the whole area that you have in front of you. Yeah, that's what I've been doing, because of you're one of my mentors, dude. I'm always
I
following your
appreciate it, man.
advice.
I appreciate it. So
So
talk,
yeah,
talk,
you
talk a
catching
little
the
bit
fish.
about that. So talk about that. So when you're fishing, or for the folks that don't know what that means, so when you're casting, walk people through that. What you've learned, like
Yeah.
how to like when you're casting.
So I'm always casting from, you know, from east to west. So first cast, go that way, then another cast, then another cast. Just changing the direction a little bit clockwise for cover all that area that you have
Yeah,
access for it. Because
yeah,
if you keep we believe that if you keep casting on the same point all the time, it's not probably you're not gonna get any vibe, because you're just stuck in one point of your
right,
shoreline.
right,
You need to
exactly.
cover all the shoreline periodically, so you can cast and move along your bait or your lure, so you'll have more opportunity, more space to catch a fish.
Right. No, I agree, man. So that's one of your favorite baits. It sounds like it's your go-to bait, man. We all have them. We all have a go-to bait, and it's not a hard bait to use, right? I mean, you just throw it, you
No,
cast it,
no,
and
no,
you
no.
retrieve it, and that's it. It's super easy, you know?
It is super easy, and you can always change the speed of the retrieving. You can go
Right.
you can go slow because some fishes would like it as a challenge, you know, to
Yeah.
oh that guy is growing fast, I need to catch it. And some they're just waiting for an opportunity, a small opportunity. Oh, that guy is moving slow, so it might be hurt.
Yeah.
It's
Yes. Yes.
something that I could eat
One
right away.
100%. You know, and fishing, they call that cadence or ritmo, right? Rhythm, the rhythm of the speed. And what I've learned from being a tournament fisherman, and I mean, I've had the pleasure of fishing with some great anglers, men and women alike, who are just amazing. One of my secrets to fishing crankbaits is when I'm retrieving, I do the different retrieve speeds, right? But one of the things that I do a lot is I'll stop the bait. And
Oh,
I'll tell you why I stop it. Because let's just say this is a big fish right here, and this is a little fish. And this is, let's just say this is your bait, and it's just moving, pop, 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 pop. And a lot of times fish will track a bait, whether it's a crankbait, whatever you have, and they don't eat it right away. They're like, something about that don't look right. And it's going, it's going, it's going. And when you stop it, this fish has to make a decision. Am I going to run into this fish? Boom, crash into him. Am I going to eat him or am I going to leave? That's a 50. If I gave you 50% odds, that's pretty good. So stopping baits is absolutely a critical component to fishing. And I see a lot of, and anything, it could be a spinner bait, it can be a crankbait, it doesn't matter. Like just stopping that bait and that the fish, there's something about that that makes the fish even bite it more. So I hope that with what you're sharing with folks and what I'm sharing, hopefully some of the folks in the audience get a really good idea of some of these techniques. What are some of the other techniques that you like to share with us? Some of the other tackle, other techniques as a shore angler that you're like, man, works really well for me. Anything else you want to share?
Hey, Ray, can I butt in real quick?
Yeah, please.
Because this is a perfect opportunity, because one of the questions we had was kind of explaining the difference between some of the baits, like a jig and a crankbait and a spinner bait.
Yeah.
Could you guys cover that real quick?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Awesome.
Jared, yeah, so Jared, do you have a spinner bait on you by chance?
spinner bait. Oh,
Check
where
the old trusty tackle box.
I know. I mean, we
Well,
have a.
well,
I know I have a one, but well, yeah, I can't find it
I
right
have
now.
one. So I have a large spinner bait here that I can show. So this is a spinner bait right here. So this is a very large spinner bait for folks so folks can see. But one of the things that you'll notice is it's basically it's a moving bait. That's what a spinner bait is. And when you
Right here.
cast it, you retrieve it. Yeah, just like that. Yeah, that's perfect. And what Jared has, he has a trailer. What is a trailer? Well, it's what's connected to the body, to the structure. You don't have to have a trailer, but it's pretty good. This particular this is called a willow. These are willow blades. Just like Jared's holding up too. Those are willow. That's actually a color. That looks like a willow blade as well. And this is a Colorado blade. And
Small
they're
one.
gonna have different vibrations in the water. It's gonna throw off different vibrations, and the speed changes depending on the blade. This goes faster, this blade goes slower. If you replaced this bigger blade with something like this blade here, you get more vibration, bum, 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 bum. You can feel it in your rod, and it puts a tremendous amount of vibration, and you use it more in like murky or dirty water. And also that's why this is orange and black, because you want to use it in like dirtier water. So that's spinnerbait. Crankbait, like Jared,
Yeah.
this is your basic crankbait. This is a jerk bait. That's a spinnerbait. And this right here, this particular kind of crankbait, a jerk bait, it's pretty easy to use. You cast it, and what you do is you can retrieve it. It has a really interesting wobble, a nice wobble. Some of them, depending on the lip, this lip that's here, that will actually determine the depth this particular bait will dive to. Correct. Like something like that. Now, everything is on the lip. Okay. So depending on the lip, and most crankbaits on the lip will tell you, right, Jared? It'll say like DT, or it'll say it'll
Yeah.
dive to 6 feet, it'll dive to 8 feet, it'll dive to whatever feet.
This one
It-
right here
yeah,
says
see, right, that's on the
4
belly, 4 to 6.
feet.
Yup, 4 to 6.
It's
Yep, this
definitely
is,
a good choice for shore fishing.
yeah. And then now, this is a little guy. Look how small that. I mean, this is my finger. Look at that. This is just a little crankbait here. This dives maybe 2 to 3 feet. The other one dives to like 6 to 8 foot. But that's some of the differences. Um, I want to open it up, Jared, for questions. That's another one. Yeah, that looks like a little wake bait there,
Yeah,
swim bait.
let's
Yeah.
do some questions.
Yeah, let's do a little Q&A for the folks in the audience. Uh, I know a lot of people like to ask us a lot of stuff, and this is the time where people actually not only ask this question but get to learn. Like get very specific, and there's no such thing as a nerdy question. I love nerdy questions. Those are my favorite. This is a good opportunity for the audience, folks in the audience, to pick our brain, like, and like, hey, how do you do this? Or tell me about that. So, Benj and Craig, we'll leave it up to you guys to give us some questions here.
Okay. The very first question that came in this morning, where do you dispose of lead sinkers? If you want to get rid of your lead and go to a non-tox sinker.
Right. Well, I know that the pollution control folks have a program called Getting the Lead Out, and I know a lot of some bait shops and other retailers also take that in. That program, Getting the Lead Out, it's been around for a while, and it's a great program. I would reach out to the pollution control folks. I would call your local bait shop and ask them if they have that program, and I would also ask them if they give credit. If you get a discount if you bring it in, and you want to fish with tungsten weights. You want to be green friendly when it comes to your presentations. They're a little bit more expensive, folks. Tungsten is expensive, not gonna lie. It is, right, Jared? I mean, what is a weight cost? Like 80 cents,
Uh,
sometimes a buck, sometimes a buck 50 per weight.
yeah,
It's not.
we've been changing lately to thin is
Yeah.
in there, and tungsten. Yeah,
Oh,
we're
okay.
starting to migrate to tin and tungsten because of the lead damage to the environment.
Yeah,
But yes,
absolutely.
it is a little bit expensive, but still, I mean, whatever you can do for the habitat, for the
Yep,
fishes. I mean, we love fishing, and we don't want to run out of fishes.
that's right. Absolutely. All right. I
Okay.
know we have some other questions.
What size hook or lure do you use in water with more vegetation and weeds? I heard you touch upon it in the presentation, but do you have an example of a weedless?
Jared, you have that jig. You want to pull up that jig?
Yep, there's the yig right here. So, yeah, the jig have this weed weed
Weed
guard
guard. Yep.
that when you're retrieving, so it's gonna be all the weeds are gonna be popping right here and leaving your hook not exposed to that weed. So it will give you cover and you won't get
hmm
hooked in
It,
it.
it protect. Yeah, it
And
definitely protects. And as far as the size goes, that looks like about a 4/0 hook, between a three,
oh,
4/0 hook, and there's a lot of different ways you can do it. You can what they call a text presentation, and I apologize to the audience. I actually I don't have my equipment. I left my boat
yeah, yeah, but we got
somewhere.
this.
Not it's not in town, but yeah, like that's a what they call EWG hook, extra
Mhm.
wide gap. EWG. Yep. Yeah, EWG hook. So that hey, what's up, dude? That's Ian again.
Yes, this is the
Ian, what's up? ¿Cómo estás?
Okay, next question, Ray.
Yeah. Yes.
Are you casting and reeling, or are you using a bobber for shore fishing most of the time?
Jared, go ahead and take that one.
Okay, well, we like to approach both. We're doing we're casting bobbers. The name of this is called a sleep bobber. So the bobber goes through your line, and you can fish different depths. You set up a stop bobber that as soon as the line sinks, the bobber will stop at the depth that you have
Bobber
adjusted
stopper.
for it. Yeah. So yes, we're you can use both. You can use bobbers. You can use reeling lures. You know, just remember to buy lures according to your depth. Going short fishing, you're always gonna. It's not gonna be more than 10 feet depth, so you can adjust your lures for 5 to 8 or the depth that you're looking for. You know. It's
Right.
more important that whatever you buy, you're not gonna fish with a 12 or 20 feet depth lure in a shore in shoreline, you know. But yeah,
Right.
you can use both, and you can have success with both of them. I mean,
Right.
when using bobbers, always do some research on the species that are in that lake. So you can bring night crawlers, you can bring fathead minnows, you can bring even corn, and what are the others?
Leeches,
Sucker minnows.
suckers, leeches, minnows. Yeah, and one of the things that we used to do when we would go fishing is somebody would use a slip bobber like you have in your hand, and I would just be casting like a topwater frog, or I would be casting like a worm, a plastic worm, and we would see who would get bit first. You know what I mean? We would just say, okay, let's see if they're, I'm going to use a minnow, or hey, you go ahead and use a plastic worm. Different, like when you have different people in your party, in your, when you go fishing, use different stuff to see what's working, and then you switch to that. Like, yep, like a topwater frog. I know that's one of your son's favorite thing to throw, man, isn't it? He
It is.
loves he loves that thing.
They haven't had any bites yet, but they're definitely
Yeah,
hoping.
yeah.
You know? They're
And
definitely hoping to get some bites one
with the
of these
frog,
days.
yeah, it's fun. I will tell you, for the audience, when you throw a frog, the bite is very violent. It's not finesse. It is violent, man. Like they come up and whap, they just hammer that thing, man. They want to kill it. They want to eat it. It's really exciting. I always tell people if they have pacemakers or heart problems, be careful because it'll scare the living bejesus out of you. So, what else? What other questions we have out in the audience?
Can you hold up a lipless crankbait versus a lipped crankbait so they can see what the difference is?
Sure.
Here.
So yeah, so the one on Jared's left is actually his right, but because of the screen, but on the left for the folks that you can see, that's the lipless crankbait. That's probably about a half-ounce lipless crankbait with treble hooks. Now that can go at any depth, and without getting too nerdy, when you cast that, if you hold your rod up at about 12 o'clock position, that bait will ride high. It'll bring the head up. If you tip your rod low, it'll bring the head down. Correct. Exactly. So on the one to his on this hand, that is a DT. That looks like a DT6. And that is based on the lip construction. That water hits that lip, creates resistance, and makes that bait go down. It'll just go down.
Right
Right
here,
there.
this one is the lip.
Correct. And
And then
again,
you,
yep, that's
yeah,
the baby brat actually 6. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
That's
That's
a good
totally
that's a good one, man. That's one of my favorites, dude. I catch a lot of
yeah.
fish on that thing.
Me too.
We're telling all our secrets, dude. telling all our secrets,
It's
man.
okay. We need to share.
I know you're right. Absolutely, man. It's so cool to be able to share with folks. But that's the difference between a lipless and then a lipless crankbait.
And you know, we'll
Any
be
Go
advice?
ahead, man.
surprised. I mean, no. Yep.
Any advice on how to avoid snags when fishing in
Yeah,
vegetation?
yeah. Don't use a crankbait. Do not use a crankbait when you're fishing shallow. Use a frog, use a jig, and something that's seamless that can go in and out of the grass like a jig that Jared has. He had that jig. That's something that you can throw. You're always going to get some vegetation. It's, you know, it's really interesting because a lot of the weedless baits, they still get weeds on them. You can't get away from it, you know. Um,
You
but
you
you're not
you
going to
won't
get
get
hung
stuck.
up. That's the difference.
Yeah, you won't get hung up, but you'll get your lure or your bait a little bit dirty.
Yeah, you're gonna have to clean it
You always
up.
have to clean it.
Like
Throw
if
it
you throw
again.
something like this in shallow water, it's it's gonna be bad. Yeah, like that's what you want to throw shallow in grass or in heavy vegetation. You don't want to throw this. All these hooks will get snagged. Something like that is good. Yep.
And we've got a couple questions about the name of the bobber that Jared uses.
That looks like a till bobber or slip. Well, slip the brand or just the kind of bobber.
Can you spell the name of the bobber in Jared's hand?
Yeah. Thill. I think it's
Mhm.
till. I
Till.
believe. Yep.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
It is till. Thill.
Yep. And they sell different ones. They sell
Mhm.
all when you go to the store, they sell, but that's your basic slip bobber. That's what you want right there.
So this is a good question to end on, I think. It says, do you have some advice on wading into lakes or river fishing? And the other question that was based on that asked about, advice on fishing a river. And Ray, don't you have something coming up about river fishing?
With the DNR or outside of the
Yeah.
DNR?
No, with the Moss series.
Oh yes, yes. We do. We have a fish in the river. And that's gonna be a good one. I fished. I live about a mile from the river, so I'm definitely a river rat. I spend a lot of time on the river. What's the first part of that question, Craig? Is about wading?
Yeah. You ever do any wading when you're fishing the
I
shoreline?
I have. I see a lot of fly anglers do that. You can. I would just be careful when you're doing it, especially in the city lakes, because that vegetation is very thick. You don't want to get trampled in that stuff. So safety is paramount. You want to be safe out there, but you can. I would highly recommend starting at like the beach area and working your way from there, because that way you're not directly in heavy vegetation. So that's where I would start.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as the second part of it, wading in the river, you want to be really careful. It's always good to fish a river when it's low currents, and then the fish are more concentrated. It's kind of sometimes harder to find the fish, but when you find them, there's a lot of them there. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of them. Because remember, if the river is high, they're spread out everywhere. There's real estate everywhere. But when that river's low, it's the best time to fish it, especially wading. It's really really good. So I recommend that. But again, look out for the current and the current seams, rocks. They're very gnarly, very sharp. So you want to be very careful. But
Okay.
yeah, that series is going to be great. I can't wait to
Good.
for that. Jared, do you want to add anything? Do you wade at all? Like, do you go into the water at all?
No, we haven't used waders,
Okay. All
but
right.
sometimes I just go in, just get my shoes off and get in a little bit just to cool down and gain some territory to get more area to fish, But that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, cool.
Okay.
That's awesome. Yeah.
There was a couple of things in the chat section I just want to touch on.
Yeah.
They were wondering if we would have a version available in print of the. If you go to the DNR website, you're going to be able to find the recording of this, and you'll be able to watch that. It'll have the closed captioning and stuff available on it too. And the last thing, we're going to just hit this real quick, Ray, is any
Yeah.
tips on night fishing?
Yes. If you're gonna night fish, I would recommend fishing for walleye. You can catch, especially in the city lakes. I saw there was a gentleman, excuse me, that fished back then. It was known as Lake Calhoun. Now it's known as De Macaska, off the southeast pier, using a sucker minnow or I think a leech, one or the other. It was light bait. that dock, that pier, is 18 feet. So those walleyes come in at night and they just gorge on minnows, shallow. People don't realize how shallow these fish get. And Craig, you know this. I've caught walleye in 2 feet of water, 3 feet of
Yep.
water, like super shallow. Those walleyes are in there at night. They're crepuscular fish, so that means they're very active at night, and they love eating at night. They're just more active, you know. So I would use exactly what Jared had, but here's the difference of the bobber. They use a lighted bobber. They sell lighted bobbers. I know it's crazy. Wow, lighted bobbers. Woo! It's so cool when you have a bobber and it sinks into the lake and it starts moving from a fish grabbing it. It's nothing cooler on the earth, man. It's so cool to watch. You're like, oh my God, I got a fish. So get yourself
Okay.
lighted bobber. It comes with batteries and all that stuff. So that's what I would recommend. Local lakes, fish shallow from the pier, leech or sucker minnows. What do you think, Jared?
Leech, definitely. We've been
Jumbo,
cutting and
jumbo leeches, jumbos,
oh yeah, yes, yes,
jumbo.
yes. Jumbo leeches, and yet even though in 6 and 7 feet in Lake Hiawatha, we've been cutting those walleyes
Yeah,
and good size walleyes.
good size walleyes. Good size walleyes.
So
But that, yeah.
you'll be surprised. I mean, if fishing in the neighborhood, fishing in the city lakes, metro area lakes, you can catch sizable fishes. You know.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, man, this has been awesome, brother. Um, I know you and I talked about going out, getting out fishing with the family, so we're definitely gonna do that.
Yes, yes.
So I wanna thank you for being here. I want to thank you so much for sharing your knowledge, your wisdom, your experiences with everyone, man. This has been tremendous. It's been great. We really, really appreciate it, and thank you for being such a steward of conservation and being a great angler and having such a beautiful and amazing family.
Well, thank you.
So
Thank you
we
very much
thank you
for
so
having
much.
me. Yes, thank you very much for having me. It's an honor, and I mean, thanks for all the mentorship that you've been giving to us because we got into fishing and we love it. You know, it's a passion for us,
I
and we're
appreciate it.
getting better. We're getting better,
That's
and for everyone out there, remember, prepare, do your research, and get everything. Always do different techniques, different baits, and pack everything. You know, you'll have to that.
cool. Thanks, man. Craig,
Thanks so much, guys.
awesome. Thank you, everyone. Quédate en la línea, Jared. Stay online.
Bye
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. Adios.
bye.
Okay, I'll take us back to the green room.
Take us back, sir. Take us back.
Bye.